I will continue to use my good offices in close coordination with our partners to establish a ceasefire, de-escalate tension, and start political talks. The United Nations stands with the Sudanese people in full support of their wishes for a peaceful, secure future and the return to the democratic transition. Thank you.
Good to have you with us, Peter. We heard there a little earlier from the Secretary-General, who says he's very concerned about the deteriorating situation in Sudan right now. He's urging both parties to end hostilities right now, as soon as possible. What's your view on what's happening there? Because it does look like that the fighting is not going to stop anytime soon.
No, it doesn't look like that. And especially the population is squeezed between a rock and a hard place. They're suffering. They don't know what's happening. They're the victim of all of this. To understand what is happening, we need to go back in time. The RSF is a creation of Bashir. So it dates back to the days before the uprising in 2019, the civilian uprising. The civilian uprising demanded a new government. Bashir was ousted, but the RSF stayed on, which is his paramilitary creation that was responsible for the atrocities in Darfur, that was responsible for some of the violence against the demonstrators in 2019 and beyond. So it's not a newcomer. It's not. It's got a lot of history. It's got a violent history, a history of violence. They were trying to be integrated, or the armed forces were trying to integrate them into the armed forces as a form of DDR, demobilization and reintegration. But they stayed together in a certain sense within the armed forces. And the rebellion or the uprising or the violence is a history, is part of the history of how the RSF was created. It's like a counter-revolutionary movement. It wants to go back to the times of Bashir before 2019.
That's right, because before this latest violence flared up 6 days ago, as you say, the RSF was looking to be integrated into the army. So presumably the RSF wasn't happy about its future within that military structure in Sudan, and hence why the fighting has broken out. So what could potentially be done, do you think, in order to bring the two sides together to come with some sort of a truce? Does the RSF need to be placated somehow in terms of its future in the military?
Well, the RSF has a political agenda as much as it has a military agenda. It's not only a military force, it's a political force. It was created on the basis of the intelligence services. So it's very much similar to the situation in some other countries where the intelligence services and the intelligence personnel have their own view on what the political future of Sudan should be. So this is not only about who's got the military power in Sudan, but it's also about the political direction of Sudan. And the impression I get is that the RSF has its own opinion about where Sudan should go in terms of the political future. Now, if that is the case, then reconciliation, how do you say, bringing these parties together will be a very complex way forward. The targeting of United Nations personnel, the targeting of diplomats, the very clear and obvious choice of targets seems to indicate where the RSF wants to go. And that is not very reassuring for where the Sudanese people want their country to go.